Hi, thanks for dropping into the Smart Woodshop. Today's project is to build a wood duck nesting box. Hi, I'm Ron Paulk, designer of the Paulk Total Station, the Paulk Workbench, and the Smart Woodshop. If you want a set of plans to build yourself any of these, you can click on the link in the description down below or at the end of this video. So a wood duck nesting box, what's that all about? Well, for a couple of years now, I have had a pair of wood ducks come to our place, our house, where we have mallards, lots of other birds, herons, all kind of birds that we got a lot of nesting around, but the wood ducks haven't stayed. They've hung out for a couple of weeks and then gone on, and I've been really interested in having them hang around and have their brood. And so I started doing a little research and found out that they need a certain kind of habitat, and a nesting box is one way to provide that. So I went online and I found lots and lots of information on how to build a nesting box, and they're all pretty similar. So I picked one and I downloaded it and printed it out. And again, this one isn't special. It's pretty well done. I think I'll be able to pull it off. But I will put a link to the one I downloaded in the description down below if I can find it again. So I'll try to dig it up and make sure that it's there in case you're looking for it. So actually I'm going to build two. So to be efficient, I am going to just double down on all my cuts. So as I'm going through this, I will cut all my pieces doubled up and have two stacks and put them together. So you'll have to bear with me. Might be quicker if I did one, but I want to be efficient with my time as well. So what it requires really is pretty straightforward. They recommend cedar, so I got two pieces, one piece each, so I just need one piece for one box. It's 12 feet, it's a 1x10, and here locally in Washington, this cost me about $24. So my cost to build each box is going to be about $24. There's a few screws and things, but no other hardware, so it's more just the time than it is the materials. The widths on all of these are all 9.25, and the net on this material is 9.25, so I don't need to do any ripping. And if this were a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, I wouldn't waste the time to rip it. It's going to be close. A 1x10 is going to be close enough. So away we go. I'm going to start with cutting the longer pieces first. My stop measuring system on my miter stand goes down to about 10.5 or 11. So I have this space between the blade and there where the stop doesn't come through. So what I do to deal with that is I have a permanent spacer that I use. It's 20 inches. I use 20 because it gets this out far enough and it's an easy number to add to. So I just write save on it and I keep it. When I'm working in metric, I have a 400 millimeter stick, so depending on what I'm working on, because my scale reads both in metric and in imperial or standard. So I've got 20 inches. This side I need to cut a 14, so I set that at 14, no problem. This side I need to cut a 7.75, so what I'll do is just set my stop to the 7.75 plus the 20, so it's pretty easy to go 27 3/4. And then I just butt my material up to this point right here and I get my cut. Out of a 12-foot piece of material, I have 20 1/4 inches left over for a future project. So I haven't pre-made this like Julia Child's where I pre-cook it and get it all set up and then I pull it out of the oven ready to go. This is never built before, so what I'm going through, you'll go through, so we'll go through it together here. And so I have to kind of check the instructions and make sure I'm doing things in the right order. So measure and cut your wood products into 6 pieces. So I've got 6 pieces for each. And then it says to attach the back, and so we get into attaching. And what I'm going to do is jump ahead and prep the front, which has on it the entry hole for the ducks, for the wood ducks, as well as some kerf cuts so that their brood can climb up on the inside to the hole, because the hole sits up high. Proper entry hole dimensions are critical. So apparently these wood ducks are very picky, so I'm going to make sure that I do the hole the exact height down from the top, the exact width and length. So this is an oval, not a circle. 3.25 from the top. So I'm going to have that dimension to the top of the hole, but I want to find the center. And so if I go a 3.5 hole, that adds another 1.75 inches. So we go to 5 inches down. That'll get to the center of the opening. I want to drill right on that center hole because I want it to be an oval. So what I will do is I will drill 2 holes, and I'll just set the center point because it's 4.5 versus 3.5, so it's 1 inch wider. So I'll offset the drill point 1/2 inch to one side and 1/2 inch to the other side. That'll be 1 inch apart in total, and I'll drill those 2 holes, and then I will connect, or I'll take a jigsaw and just cut out the difference between them. Now, to save a little time on the next one, because this has a pilot bit that sticks up, I'm going to line these up together, and again I want to put the rough side out, and that way when I drill through, the pilot bit will put my starting hole in the second board, and then I'll separate them at some point here. Now I want to make curves on the inside all the way to the bottom. This would be the bottom and this is the top, so that the chicks can climb up. The floor is the smaller piece, and it wants 5 1/2-inch drain holes. It looks like the last detail I need to do is on the side of one of the sides of the nesting box will actually open for clean out, and so the top edge here needs to be beveled so that when it rotates up, this edge here doesn't bump into the roof of the nesting box. And they show here sanding it round, but I don't think the ducks are going to mind if I just cut a bevel on this, a 45-degree bevel from the inside edge to the outside. So the rough side is the outside. I'll put that down and just cut a nice little 45 bevel across the top. Okay, so now when I screw this on, I'll put the screws in, and they'll be not tightened down, and so then it'll be able to pivot up during clean out. See, that's not something you do all the time. I think it's just once a season, but I'll have to read about that. I'm not an expert on nesting boxes. So I got both of those done. So all of the detailing of the material is done. It's time to assemble. So what I'll do at this point is I'll drop back to doing 1. No need for you to watch me assemble 2. So that's the front, that's the door, that's the roof, that's the floor. This is the fixed side, and this is the back. And they want me to attach the side, putting the screws in through the back, 4 of them, And they don't show you the spacing, but it looks to be centered. So what I'll do is find a center mark on both. So we attach the floor with 2 screws through the back and 2 screws through the side. And I am paying attention to keep the rough side out. Don't know if that's critical, but it's what I'm doing. The screws would go right through the wood, but the reason I'm pre-drilling is just to help with splitting. The front gets attached with 4 screws along this edge and 2 screws on this edge. This will be the door, so I don't want to put any screws in along this edge. Because this is going to pivot, I'm going to make the pilot hole a little bit bigger than the shaft of the screw. Same thing on attaching the roof. We'll attach it on the one fixed side and the front, and then through the back, but we won't attach it here because that's where the door pivots. I get asked about these containers that I use all the time to save myself having to address emails and comments. These are View-tainer, and you see me using these in all different sizes. And I do have them in my Amazon store, or you can just type in Google search View-tainer and you'll find them. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is put a larger hole in the front here. Actually, I'll just use this size. This is going to go, probably, I'm going to go up about 3 inches from the bottom. Put 1 screw in the front here. So this side is going to be attached to my mounting pole, or in this case, I may put this on a maple tree I have where they land up in the branches. So with I'll drill a hole in here and put a lag, probably 1/4 inch or 5/16 lag diameter, and go, probably good 3 or 4 inches long to hold it up. 1 in the top and 1 in the bottom. And then I'll put this 1 screw in from the front to hold the door closed. So to open the door, I'll have to have a screw gun or a screwdriver to pull it out. But I want it to be good and solid during the season. So thinking the cedar's going to swell or shrink or whatever it does out in the weather. So this door isn't going to be like just a normal door to open and close. This is just for the clean out. So I'll probably, when I do that once a year, I'll pull the screw out and I'll probably have a little pry bar or something with me to kind of pry it open because I'm expecting it to be very tight. So there you have it, a wood duck nesting box for about $25 in material and probably $1 or less in screws. And then I'll get some shavings that I'll put in about 4 to 6 inches, whatever it tells me in here. I've heard different depths, but I guess you fill the bottom up with that. And then once a season, you open this up and clean it out, put in fresh stuff. Maybe more often than that, again, I need to find out more about maintaining these, but this is a video about building them, not about how to maintain them and create a perfect environment for your wood ducks. That will be next. If you enjoy these videos, be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Hey, thanks for dropping into the Smart Wood Shop. Have a great day.